Alrighty, here we go into lesson 3.6, optimization. Really brief way of describing what this is all about is you're going to be given word problems where we need to come up with some equations. And then once we do a little bit of algebraic manipulation, shuffling around, we're essentially finding an absolute maximum or an absolute minimum. That's it. So it's kind of a little bit of review and a little bit of new stuff all wrapped into one. It does scare people when you go over it in class. Let's make it way less scary starting here. You have 40 feet of fence to enclose a rectangular garden with one side being the wall of the home. So what I do immediately is, if I can draw a picture, I do that, right? So I've got a rectangle right here, and my rectangles are not the best. And then we've got a wall. So one wall, dotted black line right here, will represent one of the sides of that rectangle, which is the one side of the wall of a home. And here's the garden. What is the maximum area that you can enclose? So the tough part of these problems is not actually the calculus, it's the setting up of these problems. So first thing I like to do is come up with the variables, and I always like to underline what it is I'm optimizing. So I'm maximizing the area. Okay, well, let's come up with an equation for area, right? Because I know that that's what we're going to be doing. So I've got the area, and that's going to be, well, let's just write out some variables. I'll let this be x because it's going left and right, and I'll let this be y. This will be y as well because it's going up and down. Those are the amounts we don't know. So the area of a rectangle is the base, x, times the height, y, or length times width. So that's what we want to optimize. But notice here that we've got two variables on the right. So if we were to take a derivative and find the absolute maximum of this, I'd have a lot of variables going on and no numbers. So we need a second equation. This is known as what is called the primary equation. It's our primary objective. Right? So this is the equation that we actually want to maximize. However, we need a secondary equation that will allow us to write either x or y in terms of the other variable. Essentially, it allows us to have just one variable on this side of the equation. So what's the secondary equation? Well, that's always going to come from the number that you're given. You have 40 feet of fence to enclose. So what that means is that's the perimeter. So your secondary equation is going to come from the fact that 40 feet of fencing is equal to 2 times y, because you've got y plus x, right? That would give you the distance around the amount of fencing. This is your secondary equation. It is a very important equation. And again, you always know what your secondary equation is going to come from because it's the number that you're given in the word problem. Okay, so now from here, we need to rewrite the equation that we want to optimize in terms of one variable. So I've got a choice here. I could solve the secondary equation for y. That would require subtracting x and dividing by 2. I don't want to divide by 2 if I can help it. Or we can solve for x. That would just require subtracting 2y. I like that. So I've got x equals 40 minus 2y. Ah, that's great. That's great because we can take 40 minus 2y and we can substitute it in for x. Remember, the whole goal of the secondary equation is to rewrite the primary equation, the thing we're trying to optimize in terms of one variable. So I will now get a is equal to, x will be replaced by 40 minus 2y. All right. And I'm going to pause here just for a moment. This now is the equation that we want to find the absolute maximum of, because we want the maximum area. Now let me point out, once you're to this point, it's all old school math. Everything after this point is old school calculus, right? So we're going to find the derivative, we're going to set it equal to 0, or if there's any does not exist points, and we're going to do a sign chart and interpret that. That's it. So it's all old school from here. In fact, when you're doing these problems, I would practice just getting to this point and then go to the next one. And then getting to this point and then go into the next one. And then come back and practice the calculus. In that way, you're practicing the new part again and again without much break in between. All right, with that said, I'm going to continue solving this one. So I like to multiply this out because I'm asking myself, am I in a good position to derive? And the answer is no, not quite yet. So this will be 40 times y, distributing the y, minus 2y squared. And that's equal to a. Now, we're going to derive this. This is with respect to y that we're deriving. So it's not implicit. You're taking the derivative with respect to y. So you're literally doing like a prime of y, if you will. If you want to write it that way, this being a of y, a function in terms of y. So the derivative is very simple. It's going to be 40 minus 4y. Ooh. And again, you're going after the maximum. So that's going to happen when this is equal to 0. Right? Or it could happen there. So we look for a critical number. And now we solve. So I'm going to subtract 40. We'll get negative 4y equals negative 40. And then divide by negative 4. So y equals 10. Now, some teachers are okay with you just saying, okay, y equals 10, plug it back in and get whatever your x value is, and now you've got the ability to find the maximum area. Not me though. I want to go a little bit further just to make sure you're covered if your teacher is a little more formal like I was and like I am. So looking at this in terms of a sign chart, you've got a prime and we've got our critical number at 10. You pick a y value less than 10, 1. So if I plug that in, that's going to be 40 minus 4 times 1 is positive. And then a number greater than 10, well, that's going to be 37. I don't know. 40 minus 4 times 37 is negative. So what this ensures us is, and I'm going to write out the justification just once, only on this problem, but this is the exact way I want you to write it, and I was going to type it out, but I guess I'll write it. I guess I'll write it out by hand. I'll say since a prime is greater than 0 everywhere x is less than 10. You probably don't even need to have the everywhere, but everywhere x is less than 10, and a prime is less than 0 for x is greater than 10. That's a little more efficient. The absolute maximum area, I'll abbreviate here just so you don't have to watch me write for too long, absolute maximum area will occur when y equals 10. It's very important that you realize that your justification isn't just saying since a prime changes from positive to negative at 10. That ensures a relative maximum, just saying that the sign only changes there. What I'm saying is a prime is greater than 0 everywhere before 10. So a is increasing everywhere before 10 and then decreasing everywhere thereafter. That's enough to say we not only have a local maximum, but the absolute maximum. All right, so now we want the area. So that's the justification right here. Some teachers don't need that. I will provide you with at least the sign chart every time. So a of 10 is going to find us the area. That's what we wanted. We're going to take our value, plug it in here, and so that's going to be equal to 40 minus 2 times 10, plugging it in here, times 10. And when we do that out, 40 minus, that's 20, is 20 times 10 is 200, and that'll be 200, let's see, square feet. That's it. All right, so that first problem always takes the longest. I'm going to go over the steps next, just to kind of go over the general idea of what to do. But again, think of it as new school. You need what it is you're optimizing, a second equation with the number that is given to you that allows you to then write the first equation in terms of one variable. And then you're doing old school first derivative test, basically. And if you have to justify, please follow this idea. Okay, so the general steps, what are they all about? I'm not a step person, but these steps will help if you are a step person. So to find the maximum or minimum value of a function, right, to optimize a problem, write a primary equation in terms of one variable. Sometimes you'll need that secondary equation, very often you will, that allows you to write one variable in terms of the other. We did that in the last problem. Sometimes, if you can draw a picture, that'll help. I would say most times that helps. Then it's all old school from there. Find the critical points or the critical number of your primary equation. Set up a sign chart and justify that your answer is the sought after max or min. That's what I showed you in the last problem. Some teachers, again, do not make you go to that step. I will show you at least a sign chart every time and verbally say the justification. So what I mentioned down here is steps 2 and 3 are basically old school procedures. You've done them before. You're essentially just mixing in a word problem with finding an absolute maximum and minimum using a sign chart. That's it. Isn't that sweet? I think it's pretty awesome. I'll see you in the next video.